second part of the lesson, we're going to do a 3D shape in total, and this lesson we're going to do the cone. So a 3D triangle. Once again, make sure your pencil is really sharp before we get started. And we're going to do it underneath the tonal grid that we've just done. Put your ruler on the paper and place it centre on the page. And we're going to start off by drawing a very light, once again I'm pressing harder than you're going to be pressing just so that you can see everything clearly on the video. We're going to do a 10 centimetre line, nice and neatly like so. Okay, and that is what your line should look like. So 10 centimetres. Once we've done the 10 centimetre line, we're going to measure 1 centimetre up from the bottom and do a little bit of a line like that. So that's 1 centimetre. You don't need to write the measurements, that's just, I'm writing them there for you to help you. On that line that we've just measured for the 1 centimetre up, we're going to then place our ruler horizontally on it. And we're going to draw 6 centimetres across, so it's going to be 3 centimetres to the middle line and then 3 centimetres to the right. So I'm just going to draw that across there. So 6 centimetres altogether, 3 each side. Once you've done that, you're then going to line up with the ruler. I'm going to draw from that line straight up to the point at the top. You do the same thing on the other side, nice and neatly. When we get to this stage, I would like you to rub out that middle line for me inside that triangle. So all you've got is a nice neat triangle. A little line underneath, which is 1 centimetre. Then you're going to turn your page sideways, okay? Now I am right-handed, which means I'm going to use this direction. If you're left-handed, flip the page to the side. The reason why we're turning it sideways is so that we have full movement of our wrist, meaning we can do a nice, neat, curved edge. And this part might take you a while to do accurately. Take your time and make sure it's perfect before we start shading. I'm going to start off by doing a very faint line from this side line to the corner of the triangle, and I'm just going to keep going backwards and forwards until I end up with a nice neat curve. Okay, so the more lines you do, you're only pressing lightly, you will get an accurate line because of the way that your wrist is moving. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing here, so just keep going. You're probably going to have a series of lines, that's absolutely fine. And then when I think I'm happy with it, I'm going to try and do one that goes all the way across, like so. Okay, as I said, that part is not easy, so take your time. When that is finished, I want you to rub out those guidelines inside as well. So just like that. So at each stage I'm keeping it nice and neat. Okay. The next thing that I would like you to do is, where that line was, I want you to go up slightly and draw a line behind the triangle like so. That is going to be what your cone is sitting on, so think of it like the ground. Behind it would be the wall, and we need to pick a light source. So I'm going to have the light from here, and to show that it is a light source, I'm going to draw a small sun. Oh, and I'm going to do a line towards the cone from the sun with an arrow on. That's to show where the light source is. When you're doing anything 3D, you need to have a light source and you need to have a definite area where you're going to have shade. The highlight is going to be here and the shadow is going to be on the left side because of this. Once you've done everything, please check that it's neat and then we can start shading. So once again, I'm going to sharpen my pencil. When the pencil is nice and sharp, I'm going to get started. So, we're going to reference the tonal grid that you've just done as to how much you should be applying tone to each area. Get your ruler in line with the edge of the cone, and we're going to start off by doing what would be the number 2 tone on your tonal grid. So hold the end of your pencil and we're going to use circular motion and we're going to go from the edge. Make sure that the tip of the pencil is towards the ruler. Your pencil is nice and flat. Not only are you going to press with lighter pressure if your pencil is flat, but you're also going to have a larger surface area of pencil, meaning that you're going to do it faster. So lots of benefits to that. And we're going to do that number 2 tone all the way across, roughly to near the centre. When you get to that centre line, I want you to use circular motions and buff it out so that that then gradually fades into nothing. If you've got a little bit on the bottom there, then just fill that in as well. Okay, that's step 1 done. Step 2, we're going to leave, okay, a tiny bit of edge there, and we're going to leave a tiny bit along the bottom as well. So I'm going to come in roughly, let me just measure it, just to give you a rough guide, 1/2 centimetre in from the side. If you want to measure it, feel free. And I'm just going to start to go a little bit darker and bring that up. Okay, as you get to the top, we can go over to the edge all the way, and then we're going to start to leave a gap as we get further down, like that. We're then going to do the same along the bottom where we've got tones. We're going to leave a little gap, and we're going to go across, almost giving us an L shape. Can you see that? So an L shape. Once you've got that L shape done, we're going to bring the tone in and we're going to blend it. So blend it inwards, getting slightly paler. I'm not pressing any harder. It's going darker because I'm layering it. So no need to change where you're holding the pencil. No need to change the pressure that you're using. Okay, keep going, keep blending it. Make sure you keep it lighter on the edge. Then it goes darker. Where you've done that L shape, I want you to blend the bottom of it slightly further over than the rest. Okay, all of this side here is still white, it's blank, I've not touched it. Once you've done that, we are going to add in some darker tones. And where we're going to add it in first is on the shadow, because we want the shadow to be super dark. We want it to be the darkest part of the whole piece. And I'm going to turn my page upside down. I'm going to put the ruler on the edge and I'm going to go on the outside like that. And I'm going to bring it out. Okay, don't worry about it being perfect just yet. So this is the side that we're going to have the shadow. I'm going to put my ruler on the line there as well, because I don't want it to go above the ground. You wouldn't have the shadow on the wall from where the sun is. It's going to be strictly on the surface that it's sat on. And I'm going to blend it out like that. Keep blending, keep blending. Okay? We're going to do the same thing, so very carefully and slowly we're going to go along the bottom, so underneath, Don't go into the cone at all. I'm going to go halfway underneath like that. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to do circular motions. I'm going to make the shadow blend out. If yours is not blending out, you're not using a circular motion. So really use a circular motion and make sure that you're pressing nice and light and you are layering rather than pressing hard and expecting it to look perfect after one layer. It will not look perfect. You need to layer. Okay, and keep doing it like so. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to go back into this area here and I'm going to build it up a little bit darker. And I'm going to go a little bit into the part that was left as a highlight. As long as I've got that nice crisp edge, I'm happy. Okay, and on this top part here, I'm going to get that nice and crisp as well. Right, let me see what I'm doing. I'm going to bring it around. Because you want that shadow to be slightly in that L shape, remember, so that's what we're going to go for. Okay, so I'm happy with that at the moment. Now, because we've got a highlight here, we need to show that off with shadow behind the cone. So we're going to use our ruler to block off the cone. And we're going to add, we're not doing it as dark as the shadow, but we're going to use some circular motions. And we're going to add a bit of a shadow behind and along here. This will make the cone appear a lot more three-dimensional. So we're not just shading the cone itself, we're also shading the negative space around the cone. Okay, don't worry if your edges aren't perfect, as long as you've got a nice neat edge against that part of the cone. Once you've done that, you're going to do the other side, but on this side I'm going to do it a lot lighter, so very edge of your pencil. Super light, only a little bit of tone here. Yeah, and we're going to do a very light layer on the ground here, blending it into there. Once you've got that done, then it's just a case of refining it. So I'm going to get the edge of that cone neater, and I'm also going to bring the tone further across to the right. It's not something that's going to be finished quickly, okay? I'm going to be shading right now a lot faster than I'm expecting you to do, and you have to keep looking at what you've done, assess, is it as good as it could be? If it's not, go back and do more. Keep building it up, get it perfect. We want it to look super realistic, really 3D. Get that edge nice and neat underneath. Don't forget to leave it a little bit paler there, just to show where the edge meets the shadow. Can we get our shadow darker? The more contrast between light and dark, the more three-dimensional it is going to look. And I'm going to buff this shadow out a little bit more. So to get high level drawing for this task, it's constant layers. Constant layers, check it, can you refine it more? If so, more layers. Because you're pressing light, if you go too far, all you have to do is use your rubber and you'll be able to remove anything that you've done very easily. If you press hard, then you might have to start again. So whenever you're doing any work, make sure you're pressing light and you're building it up slowly. Okay? And I think I'm almost happy. Last little bits, finishing touches. If you need to, you can also use your rubber just to get a nice neat edge if you've gone a little bit too hard. And that is the finished result. I'll just zoom in and let you have a little look at that one as well. Okay. Good luck, and when you're finished, if you could please upload your work to Firefly so I can see how you got on. Thank you.